The 10 most strangest things found at Antarctica. What is Antarctica exactly? A large, mostly frozen place where the wind blows a lot, snows and sometimes thaws, water expands when it freezes, and ice that is over water can crack and form unique patterns. But what is it that we still don't know? Why does Antarctica appear to be stranger the more we learn about it? Want to know more? Well, just join us here on Country Facts. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. The Antarctic, a mysterious frozen continent roughly 1.5 times the size of the United States, is 99% covered by ice. It includes over 70% of the world's freshwater and 90% of the world's ice. Because it is the least populous continent, it holds many secrets. However, due to its remoteness and terrible weather conditions, Antarctica has not been thoroughly investigated by scientists, and it remains wrapped in ice mystery. Also, many conspiracy theories have been established in an attempt to discover what secrets the ancient glaciers hold. 10 of them are what we're going to talk about more in this video. The first such discovery is underground lakes. Many things are hidden underneath the thick layers of ice in Antarctica, and some of them have already been found. The underground lakes are one of these things. Scientists first found the lakes in 1970 by using echo sounding, which is a lot like using radars to find planes in the sky. About 400 lakes are thought to be under the 3 kilometers of ice, but this number is only a rough estimate, and scientists say there could be twice as many lakes there because many areas haven't been looked at. Most likely, these lakes were made when Antarctica split off from Gondwanaland, which used to be a supercontinent. The next one is Deep Lake. Deep Lake in East Antarctica has one of the most interesting ecosystems on Earth. Its water is just as salty as the water in the Dead Sea, and because of how salty it is, it stays liquid even when it is freezing outside. Most of the living things there are in a very dangerous environment. For example, penguins shouldn't swim in this lake because the water is much colder than in the ocean. No one can live in such a harsh place except for microbes that like the cold. Our third one's Blood Falls. Since the beginning of the last century, scientists have been puzzled by this flow of red liquid in the middle of Snow Kingdom. In 1911, an Australian geologist found the Blood Waterfall, and the search to figure out what it was all about began. Scientists knew right away that the water was red because it had a ton of iron in it, but it took them years to be able to prove this. It turned out that the color came from oxidized iron in the water of an underground lake not far from the falls. Up next, we have Unusual Creature. This is the only fish that you can see through. This creature had to change in order to live in the cold, which is why it became a unique creature. Hemoglobin is a protein that makes our blood and the blood of birds and animals red. If hemoglobin is gone, the color may be clear. If an ice fish goes into water that is too warm, it will die, so Antarctica is its home. If see-through fish aren't enough to impress you, Antarctica has a lot of other species that will leave you speechless, like sea spiders with legs the size of a dinner plate, and a giant squid that probably inspired the mythical Kraken. Fifth is ancient fossils in rainforests. Do you find it strange that this one made the list? You shouldn't expect to find a secret oasis with green rainforests in Antarctica, but fossilized leaves and wood showed that there were rainforests in Antarctica. There were also signs of tropical trees, which again supports a scientific theory that Antarctica was a warm place where ancient civilizations lived before the Ice Age. It's very interesting to think about what future research on the frozen continents will find, because things hidden under thick layers of ice must have a lot to say, and we're just starting to find them. Next is Gamburtsev mountain range. As a group of scientists traveled across Antarctica, they suddenly found a large mountain range hidden under the ice. They are called the Gamburtsev Mountains, and they are about 3,000 meters tall and 1,200 kilometers wide. People didn't know that these mountains are about 1 billion years old, which is an amazing fact. Also, geological time should have killed off the Gamburtsevs a long time ago, but they are still here. Scientists have ideas about how they could have stood for so long, but they don't know for sure. Next one on our list is a very interesting one, singing ice. As you can see, one of the largest pieces of ice in the world is singing. New research published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters shows that when the wind blows over the rough surface of Antarctica's Ross ice shelf, it makes a nearly continuous series of tones. The tones are too low for humans to hear, but sped up versions have been compared to everything from the eerie drone of a didgeridoo to the music from a 1950s movie about aliens from outer space. The singing ice was discovered by chance. In 2014, researchers buried dozens of seismic sensors under the ice shelf's snowy surface. The ice shelf floats in the Southern Ocean next to the Antarctic continent. But when the scientists looked at the data collected by the sensors over more than 2 years, they found that the rough surface of the shelf, which scientists call the firn layer, was almost always moving. The scientists also found that the frequency of the vibrations changed when the weather on the shelf changed, like when the temperature went up or down, or when storms changed the shape of the snow dunes on the shelf. 8th on our list is Giant Hole. In 2017, a hole opened up in Antarctica that is bigger than the Netherlands, or as big as Maine. Polynius are the name for these holes, which have been there for a long time, but this hole is the largest since the 1970s. According to National Geographic, this happens when ocean currents push warm water toward the surface, which melts the top layer of ice. When the air from Antarctica touches the water on the surface, it sinks and cools, then heats up again and rises back to the surface. Coming up next is Mount Erebus. Mount Erebus is the world's most southern active volcano. Magma and lava have been boiling for thousands of years. Mount Erebus has been active for about 1.3 million years to be more exact. At 3,794 meters above sea level, it is also Antarctica's second highest volcano. Mount Erebus is on Ross Island, which is also home to Mount Terra Nova, Mount Terror, and Mount Bird. All of these volcanoes are dormant. There are also 2 lakes of lava at Mount Erebus right now. And the last on our list is the Southern Ocean. If you look at a globe, you can see that the southern hemisphere is bluer than the northern hemisphere. A huge 80% of it is the ocean, whereas only 60% of the north is the ocean. The waves in the Southern Ocean are the only ones that move around without hitting any land. It's both huge and very dangerous. The roaring, screaming, and furious latitudes are scary for ships traveling through them. A lot of marine life lives in the Antarctic convergence, which is where icy currents meet warmer sub-Antarctic waters. There's nothing like this happening in the north, but like the continent itself, there are no people living there. The Southern Ocean is unique in that it flows into the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. This makes it possible to track the currents and routes that make up the Global South. We want the Global South to be thought of in the same way as the Southern Ocean. This is what we call the Oceanic South. The Global South makes you think mostly about how things are unequal right now, but the Oceanic South makes you think about the past and what the future may hold. It connects the scattered land masses of the settler South, the decolonized and still colonized countries of the Southern Hemisphere, the Sea of Islands that makes up indigenous Oceania, and the frozen continent of Antarctica. So, that was all for today's video. What do you think is the strangest thing in Antarctica? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked today's video, then please do check out more videos like this on our channel, and subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more updates.